Things to smile about, right?
You've had a fantastic international, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're. I already know that you wanted her to go further, you wanted to win, and that's all that really matters. And I know you said that before to us, but come on, you've had a great international. You've exceeded expectations everywhere. Everyone's blown away by how far you came.
That's only because the public doesn't scrim, constantly. Our expectations were much higher, but
okay.
Outdoing yours was pretty easy, Yeah. Okay. I don't think many people expected us to even get here, so yeah, right. Well,
one of the few.
That much.
I had faith in you, brother.
I
had faith. I did. I was there. I picked them out. These guys were going for the boring picks. They were going for Secret, EG, LGD. I was the only one said C-Deck or Complexity. Right?
Confirmed.
Yeah, see? Confirmed. Okay. What did you manage to catch much in that last game?
No, I was in a cab. I saw TA he lost like the first 3 minutes. I assume, Waga, you probably know what happens as the TA expert.
I was watching TA quite a lot, yeah. She was struggling in the beginning, but then they made recovery through good rotations on the side of Secret. And then after the 10-minute mark, there was just a very hard time for VP to go aggressive because they're, as we mentioned, we talked a little bit before we went live, but they can't catch people. Yeah. They tried to do it with the song into RP, but there was no damage. They used everything, even the global silence, and they brought one hero to half HP. That was all.
Yeah. Melina, was there a sense of inevitability about this game after about 10 minutes? Did we know where it was heading?
Yeah, before the draft, it looked like, okay, maybe late game they can Song and a Stone Gaze with the empowered Medusa and do a lot of damage, but they never got to that point. The team fight was irrelevant because Naga was level 3 at 10 minutes, and they just had too many ways to jump on the silencer. We talked about that. That was one of his weaknesses, and the Surge TA. I mean, Atos was not very useful there. They also have Snowball, which Atos is also not very good against, and they just had no good way to protect her.
Yeah, I think off of Waga's point, it's really hard. They really had nothing to combo off of Song. You have a silencer ult, you have an RP, but there's no just hard lockdown if you catch someone out. So you kind of have to blow everything or the Song's wasted. And it's just really difficult to take good fights, especially against one of, if not the best team in the world that way.
Yeah, no, you say that, and you played them in the group stage. How did they stack up?
They're okay.
They're okay.
They have more than enough fans on the bandwagon, so I'm not really going to jump on as well.
Okay, good. I like that. Stays neutral. Brilliant. Good. He'll fit in really well. He should stay on the desk for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Replace Melini.
Well, let's keep Ben. I can go.
Really? No. We need to get rid of Binny.
I'm hungry, but yeah, okay.
All right.
No, that's right.
Okay. Going into game 2, Ben, what are we looking for? Particularly for Virtus Pro. Yeah, what would you do if you were Virtus Pro right now? You go crazy with the draft?
I probably wouldn't second pick Silencer. It's a really good pick, but I think Secret know how to deal with it. They're running stuff they ran against us yesterday, and I think that Secret's much too good of a team to not sort of learn how to deal with that. I expect to see them do something a little weird. Maybe go back to their bread and butter. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Slark. That's my call, but probably really late pick Slark or Dro.
Yeah, we were asking for that when we saw the Magnus. Magnus Slark would have been a strong combo, but the Dusa was the favorite.
Yeah, Empower on a ranged hero. I get the concept of it, but I feel like the cleave is the main reason. Magnus melee carry just sort of they go hand in hand. The Medusa seemed more of just what do we do?
Really? Do you think it was a what do we do?
Yeah.
I mean, this late in the international, you'd expect teams to have played these things and practiced them.
It's really hard, man. You take hundreds and hundreds of games of practice, and then suddenly you're on stage, and it's 2 out of 3. And it's one of the few TIs that I think I would have really loved to see. Maybe I could have enjoyed 7-game series in the group stages because all of the teams were. They're so much more dynamic than they were in the past, and I feel like the skill levels were a lot more even than we have really ever seen at TI.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everyone on this panel has said repeatedly over the last 3 days that actually the skill gap has really narrowed between all of the teams. So one small mistake and you could lose and disappear from the tournament. So, yeah. I didn't want to bring that up, but...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's nothing compared to what he was going to do, trust me.
Oh, what?
What?
Did you drop something?
Oh, no. Oh, your Yules. Should I grab that for you? Or you want to just leave it there?
I don't know. Someone's just going to come by and kill it.
Yeah. I did see someone dressed up as Rubik earlier, so watch out.
Careful there. All right. We've got a little while before we get back in. And what did you make of that first game?
I thought it was good, but I just wanted to ask Swindleman a question quickly, which is, we have seen the standard come up like, even since last year, what has changed? Why is it suddenly so much better? Because the Dota seems much more aggressive, much more coordinated.
In the past, I think it was a big deal as a gamer to be able to support yourself just as a gamer.
Right.
And I think this was the first year where you had a bunch of teams who had that sort of burden of, can I do this? Is this sustainable? That was sort of lifted just because of the amount of money in the prize pool. So you have now potentially hundreds of players who can commit themselves full time to get better at Dota. In the past, it was still a rare thing for like the top of the top, but now it's actually you can do this. You can say, "Hey, Mom, I want to be a Dota 2 player," and okay, sounds great. It's just a different mentality, I think, and I think this year we had a lot more people really taking the game seriously, and again, the stakes are so high. How can you not?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what is it like out there? Because we're stuck out here in the corridor. But what is it like in the booth, standing on that stage?
It's what you live for. That's why you play.
Yeah.
The pinnacle of competition, and it's not really about the money so much as it is just you really feed off of the energy of the crowd, and it is a rush you can't really get from anything else. I'd say the only thing that's ever been comparable is like the first 5 to 10 seconds of skydiving, but that's what you feel constantly while you're in the booth, especially when you win. Losing really hurts. Losing's not fun at all.
Sure.
Still getting over it. Probably will be for a while.
Okay.
I was told...
use it for next year.
I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people. They're like, Puppy will still be salty about losing to Alliance at TI3. And that never goes away. And that probably hurt a lot more than my loss, but I don't know. It's something all gamers kind of share, is the knowledge of what the pain really feels like.
Sure. Okay, so great insight as well, because obviously it's difficult for us when we're watching that.
Yeah.
We comment and we say how bad you've played or how well you've played or whatever, and then you know that's tough when you're in there losing a match. How do you zone all of that out going into? I know they're really soundproof. They're really good at kind of door slots, and that's it. You're kind of locked away, but you're in a glass cage. I mean, how do you just zone everything out and just focus on the match?
I mean, it's really easy, I think, just because you're still just sitting next to the same guys you've been sitting next to for a while, and you don't really hear much of anything. So it's really not that difficult. Once you're in the game, you're just playing Dota. It's just a big game of Dota. A lot of reward possible. I mean, it's really hard to explain. But what I really like about the booths is that they're very soundproof, but you can hear the crowd cheering if they get loud enough. So it's just absolutely perfect, and it really gets you hyped.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that as well, because I get the sense, and tell me if I'm wrong, I get the sense you're a very emotional player. You like to play, and you really get into it. And when things happen, I saw there was a great clip of you mid-game. You were losing the game, everything was going wrong, and suddenly you guys got a great team fight. You won the team fight, it was a wipe, and you were in there really like roaring your team on, really.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've always been since I first got started. It was just I wear my emotions my heart on my sleeve. There's really no way to get around that. So it's just sort of who I am, I suppose.
Does it help the team? I mean, I'd imagine it does in that situation when you're
Sometimes.
losing.
It's a curve, you know. You want to be on like the peak, but if you go too far, it can really distract. So I kind of have to hold back sometimes.
Right. It's great insight. Thank you very much for the winners. We're going to get into our second game in just a moment.
Thanks.
Virtus Pro versus Team Secret. Game 2.
As the man says, Game 2, draft is underway. So I'm going to stay with us, take us through the draft with the guys, Wagger and Malini, and of course Pyrian.
Yeah, I'll shut up then, okay. Right. Incoming Reddit thread, Swindleman's just the best desk guest I've ever had, he's win every time, guaranteed.
That's only because the competition's so low.
Whoa! He fits in, the shots.
I mean, Red Eye just sets the bar so low. I don't know.
I have a question for you. As a resident pause expert, how did the pause affect you during the game?
Oh, I mean, it was no big deal. I mean, we had just lost a series the other... I was playing the same hero in the same situation, and then we lost. It wasn't fun. It's not the reason we lost. And
I mean, but you can't like focus on Dota because you can't look at your screen. You know, the crowds around you.
In retrospect, I should have said, just drag me out of the booth. I'm sitting here, like, in the game. You can take them away. We're staying here, but oh well. Water under the bridge. Draft.
Yeah, 4 picks already. Fairly standard so far.
Very quick picks as well. So Lina was the first pick.
Quick.
Queen of Pain Darkseer reaction picks, and then, of course, Shaker. Just a great combo with Lina and a Deny against this Darkseer as well. These teams really know what they want. That was super quick first phase.
You guys actually utilized Darkseer a lot in the group stage. Do you think that other teams undervalued him at that stage of the international?
I actually think we might have undervalued him as well. I mean, we picked him, but we were consistently getting him 3rd, 4th pick, and I believe just now, and specifically, was it the EG eHome series? I think eHome first to Darkseer twice, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got a lot of counters, but one of the main ways people used to deal with him was to pick a support like Bane or CM with like a Bloodseeker. And he actually can't lane at all, specifically against Bane, but those heroes have kind of fallen out of favor, and he's just kind of sitting in the off lane throwing ion shells, getting a lot more than most other off laners.
We even saw in one game, I think it was here at the main stage, where we saw Skywrath being picked once, and it was purely reactive to a Darkseer as well. I mean, Skywrath, not the hero of this patch, but it can be good in some scenarios. Harassing a Darkseer is super important.
Yeah.
If he gets the levels, he can take over.
It's funny because in the meta there's so many different just heroes. So Skywrath is great, but then they're running a Spear Breaker with the Darkseer, and you're very grim life after that.
Exactly, it can definitely backfire. You don't want to have squishy heroes in general in this meta. That's why we see so much Tusk, Darkseer, Spear Breaker, tanky heroes in general.
Yeah, but that's why most teams, specifically EG, I think they opened actually Lina, Shaker, Dazzle yesterday, and it's really hard to sort of discern where they're going with the draft. Secret's one of the, if not the only team that's really confident. They'll just pick their 3 cores right off the bat. You know exactly what they're going to do, but it's just a rather well-rounded and reasoned draft so that it makes sense, and they can't really get trapped like other teams will. And that's really, personally as a drafter, what I fear when you're early picking all your cores is you don't really have the same versatility anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's always the decision as well as a drafter, if you want to show your course or if you want to, wait with that and pick up the supports first. But sometimes showing a few supports and